1,000 open interest contracts at 420 SPY. 50,000 puts, guys. What? Exactly, right? So if the price went offered at 420, this market could get absolutely murdered, right? So obviously this is a huge defensive print right here. Huge defensive print. It was to the cent, literally to the cent right there, guys. That's where the buy came in. I can't make it up. I've shown you this before several times. That's where the buy came in, right off the 420s on the SPY itself. Now, what price do we have to take bid to unwind perhaps the next biggest key level above it? What price would that be? 422s, 13,000 contracts. 425s, 26,000 contracts. So the 422 becomes a key level, and the 425 becomes a key level as well. 422s and 425s. These become key SPY levels for Friday, remember. But obviously, if you work your way back to Wednesday, and you can say, well, what about Wednesday? Where am I going to get some key levels that I might start seeing some possible gamma positives coming in? You're certainly not going to find them in the call market, but in the puts market, 420, 10,000 contracts, 422, 3,000, 423, 5,000, 424, 5,000. So you're already starting to recognize 423, 424 as key levels again, aren't you? And you're starting to watch for price failing to get above these 423 level here, failing to get above the 422 here. That's where we need to take the price through. The 424 actually is a price that I quite like because there's a lot of call options at 424. And at 424, if there's a lot of call options, that means there's a lot of, that gamma positive situation starts to kick into play just above here. And that's the price we just haven't been able to take the S&P, the SPY bid at this stage, yeah? So that's something we were obviously very, very mindful of as we go into today's markets. In terms of the puts, still the same narratives, 420s, 422s, 423s, 424s, 425s, and in the call market again, 423s pretty meaty, 424s pretty meaty, 425s pretty meaty. So this is where we start seeing the first of the possible surges coming in here, and then as we get through these levels on the SPY, we might start being able to pick up some positive gamma hedging, and that might give us an ability to buy away from these areas through these prints here. And obviously the 425 is going to be the big battleground for this S&P this afternoon. And that's what we're trading. The 420s to the 425s. That's the battle. If we lose 420, the market's busted, right? We're absolutely busted on this trade. The price gets more bullish as we take out 422. And we start getting a breaker above 422s, 423s, it becomes more bullish, 424s, it becomes more bullish. But remember, to get more bullish, it's got to go past the halfway stage. Otherwise, the gravity still pulls. That concept of the gravity, yeah? Does everybody understand that? We talked about this a little bit in the world of bond markets. But obviously, if I've got a key strike here and I've got a key strike here, well, these are both key liquidities, yes? So these are both magnetic. So when we think about that as a kind of equidistant magnetic field, we start thinking about the idea that the price has to get into that magnetic field before it becomes bullish. So the price really has to be in this area for this to become the key magnetic pull. If we can't get into that kind of area there, this is still going to be the magnetic pull, isn't it? So the price is going to trade, for example, like this. It's going to get pulled back down into that area. It's going to get pulled back down into that area. And it's only if we can take the market above this kind of area here that this starts to drag the price through to the top edges. Does that make sense, Stuart? Yeah? So you can see when this price here starts to get taken out into the 421s, there was very, very little option activity at 421s. But when you see it getting taken out at 421s, it pulls the price down to 420. And obviously, if we can get back above 421s, it usually should pull the price up, but we just haven't. The 421, because the 421 doesn't have any liquidity at it, this should have been big enough, but remember the 420 liquidity is huge. So we really need to get close to that 422s to offset the liquidity pool, bearing in mind if this is, say, 20,000 contracts, and this is 5,000 contracts, we need to get a lot closer to that 5,000 to get it to really start moving to the upside, because there's a big weight of liquidity. So obviously, if this liquidity here is enormous, you've got to get away from that big liquidity here. You've got to get really far away from that to break the pool of that liquidity, magnetic pull into that area, right? And that is an enormous level. That 420 is an enormous level. So we've got to get away from that enormous level to make any money. And you can see, obviously, that's where we're kind of struggling a little bit here. Kind of struggling a little bit here. Anyway, making a lot of money in our long oil. If anybody joined me, I'm up about 25 grand on this at the moment. Having a good day, guys. Having a good day today. On Ninja Trader alone, we're up $40,000 on Ninja Trader stuff. Just the stuff that we've shown, the stuff we've been talking about, the stuff we've been trading. So this is the stuff we've been showing just in the classroom, in the room, that up to 10 contracts. And you can see that we've got a $40,000 profit today. Currently flat the markets right across the spreads. But yeah, 40 grand today so far on the stuff that we've been showing. And quite straightforward, guys, quite straightforward. Nice big lean there for equity buyers. Big lean at the 14s, 15s. So if you took it, guys, I like your buy trade. I like it a lot. Very nice. Yes, Max did buy it. If anybody's interested, Max bought into the low price here. And we got a little tester before the break higher. But a very large lean at 14s, guys. A very large lean at 14s on your retest here. And a nice little pop to the upside from that buy side lean. Nice little pop from that buy side leaner right there. So there's the Max buy trigger coming out to play just in there. And a very, very nice buy side pop. Okay, guess where we stopped on the NASDAQ, guys? Surprisingly enough, we're back at the 25s again. Still can't take it bid, guys. Still can't take the 25 bid. Getting closer though. Little spring trade opportunity there if you fancied a little bit of algorithmic buying. So a little spring trade there for an algorithmic buy, and a little pop. Disappointed we didn't get through the top edge. Algo's just switching off just a little bit into that sentiment shift negative here. Little sentiment shift negative here. So back to the drawing board as far as that one's concerned. We were right about the euro not being a buy trade, weren't we? The euro simply not showing up on the crosses as a buy trade, and sure enough, the price failing to get away from the bottom edges here, and it's came back down to retest into the lows. We did warn everybody that there was no buying on the crosses here in the euro, and that's obviously been a problem for anybody trying to pick up some longs at the moment. We were right about the exit on the bond. It's dropped off quite nicely since that exit at the 63.16s. It's dropped down to 28 since then for $500-600 profit if you decided to short the trade. What is the trade just now? Well, it's a short trade. You can see that. But the short trade didn't show up until the price had sold, so it's very difficult to be short during that period. So I'd probably need to now see a retest, and I'd probably want to see a retest of at least 11s before I trade bonds again at this stage. Quite happy to be off the market at the moment. And I have down tools pretty much on everything at the present moment. I've down tools pretty much on every trade so far. Yeah. Anybody in anything? Anybody in anything, guys? I've got nothing at the moment, Mike. Rennie jumped on some short bonds. I wouldn't disagree with that, Rennie. I just, I'm assuming, did you short the bond on the push, or did you short the bond in this pullback here? Which one of the two gave us the short? Yep, okay. So it was the original push. I wouldn't have taken it myself. Simple reason being that there's a hell of a lot of pressure coming in from the curve here, but the volume's obviously sufficient that it was a measure as well, remember. So we had this bracket measure. So there was a lot of technical reasons to be selling this price here. You can see that from the bracket measure, of course, that's the perfect technical sell, right? Technical sell. But without the support of the curve, it's not for me. It's simply a closing trade rather than an entry. But if you take it as a scalper, which I can't do because I'm long the bond at that stage, I've got to get rid of the longs first in it. You know, I don't get top tick price on these, by the way. I slip some of that business when I'm trying to get rid of this trade. It's not just the top tick price I get that basically that red candle there. So by the time I've cleared my long bond, the price is already down at 11s. So there's no way I can get net short at that stage, right? So unless the price now goes back up to retest, I can't join you in that short trade. But so for me, absolutely no chance of getting the short. Absolutely no chance. Nice pop to the upside, guys, on equities. We've got that trade nailed, I think, guys. I think we've got that trade nailed. Look at that, another little spring trade for the Q boys. Who were all the Q heads in there, guys? Come on, where's all the Q heads? Yeah, see the little spring again there? And then we've now got the big volume coming in as if Q's broke the 25s. Woo! Are we happy now? Yes, we are, aren't we? Abso-fucking-lutely. And so we can start to recognize that little pop right there. We can start to see the Q heads getting into the bit of business here. Nice target price top line now in place. A little prop stop target just played out just here. A nice opportunity for you to take some of your cash off on that little uptick just into the target price. And there we go, guys. Beautiful. You can't say we haven't told you about this trade for pretty much all day, in fact, haven't we? So all we've talked about is the long Q trade and hoping to catch the buyer above the 25s. And that's what we've been talking about almost exclusively when it comes to that equity. We've been shouting Gene's name, but he's been posted missing. He's vanished. The Q master himself. Into the bottom edges here, you see a similar spring trade for the S&P. And again, that big pull starting to really pull the gravity push and pull through that phase. And you can see that little spring trade there from the lows. And again, that break of 22s brings us up to the 23s. Now, the next break of 23s, the acceleration could start in earnest, and we could easily start looking for that 25 breaker to the upside, yeah? So where's the Q master, Kim?
He's probably in a meeting since he's having to work as well. Gene, where are you? I bet he's in a meeting.
That's a costly meeting, that one,
He'll
I'll tell you.
pop in.
That's a
I
costly
know,
meeting, guys.
right? He said he's been having to do quite a bit of work because I think he's trying to retire. I know, right? Oh, there you go. Breakfast with Elon.
It was a very nice long oil trade, by the way, if anybody decided. I think Michael says he's got it. Good news, Michael. I'm assuming it's this one here. There was a very, very nice tested low here. I didn't get it, but it's a tested low. Didn't quite run the stops. Did run the stops of the previous low. So you see that it ran that liquidity there. So I'm assuming that's Michael's trade right there. And you can see obviously that the big demand that showed up just prior to that candle, nice bit of a value from the crack spread and the Brent oil spreads, gave you a nice opportunity to buy the 25s, 96.25s. Trades a high price of 96.80s. It's another 50 ticks on the buy side trade. Very, very nice trade. Well done, Michael. King of the Barons today, Michael. I think we could give you that title, King of the Barons today. You've certainly outperformed me because I missed out on that trade. Just because I've been on other things. I've been doing other bits and pieces, unfortunately. So the buy on the equities perhaps catching a lot of my attention. So King of the Barons, not a bad title to have for the day. I'm sure Cliff and Sammy will come after it tomorrow again, so that's okay. You can hold on to it. Top line, 423 SPY. Got to try and get that market bid. We're going towards that top line trade on the Qs. If we can make the big break, we're looking at 327s. That's going to be the trade. That's going to do the trade right here. If we can make that little break to 327 halves, that would be very, very nice. Sentiment positive. Algo's coming off the trade a little bit. Disappointing, of course, but worthwhile taking a little bit of profit into this little uptick phase with the algos coming off a little bit here. But certainly that bullish rotation, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. And if we can just put that little bit of a press into this area, we might easily be able to take out the 27 halves. And that would be fantastic, of course. And it's perfectly in line with everything we've been talking about today, isn't it? That perfect example of, well, pretty much the whole trade narrative. Great stuff, guys. Great stuff. I like some of your work on this. I'm liking it.